Hey, this is Buck Dharma of Blue Oyster Cult, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all-natural, dry-aged USDA prime Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you taste their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, and of course the king of all, those massive cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. Best I've ever had, probably be the best you ever have as well. Check them out at UppercutChops.com. That's UppercutChops.com. Or give them a call, find out what's for dinner. 714-948-0100, 714-948-0100, 714-948-0100 for UppercutChops.com. Yes! All right, a big welcome in to everybody listening in on all of our network affiliates, our CBS, NBC, Fox, and Independents. Also, everybody that's on those independents as well, plus cable operators, Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, and Wow Cable TV in select markets, plus Hotel TV in over 550,000 rooms from coast to coast, plus everybody streaming on Facebook, plus everybody on Chicago Food Favorites. Yes! I started that page about, at the beginning of the year. And so far, we've got over 1,500 people that's on that group, and it's all organic, no pay for this or that, the other. There's a lot of people on there. We post a lot of fun restaurants and recipe ideas and some goofy memes and whatnot. Listen, folks, go to Facebook, check out Chicago Food Favorites, and participate. It's free. It's fun. Why not? Let's have some fun. All right, talk about having fun. If you've been watching any of the baseball lately, I have been, and of course a lot of other people have. Summer mixed between football, baseball, basketball, hockey. This is the best time of the year because they're all on air right now. And this is clearly the best time of the year. I love this, and I have to tell you, sometimes I'm torn between watching playoff baseball, college football, the NHL, and the NFL, or the NBA. They're all going on right now, plus all the other sports too. But right now, I'm kind of glued to what's going on with the Dodgers and the New York Metropolitans. And it's a very hard-hitting but very lopsided series. And I'm talking about game by game. I'm not talking about one team is that much better than the other. I'm just talking about, look, there is no one-run game in this. Oh, no. It's blowout central. It's 7-0. It's 7 or 8-0, 9-0, 7-3, then 8-0. It's one of those kind of series. So if you're going to try to bet that run line, this is the one to do it. So you don't have to worry about that 1.5 run kind of thing. Watch, the next game is going to probably be, something like a 3-2 game. Something stupid like that. But that's what happens when you're in the betting world. But how about this? How about Walker Buehler shows up and looking like the Walker Buehler, if you're a baseball fan, knowing this guy can deal. And he was dealing tonight. There was no fooling around with Walker Buehler's stuff. This guy looked like the all-star that he is. And he delivers, of course, pick your favorite media outlet. They say, he delivers a vintage performance. What is so vintage about it? This guy's good. And the bigger problem is, it's not just, before I get into all the rhetoric and whatnot, they say, it's a vintage performance. Well, a vintage performance would be a starter going 8 or 9 innings, not 4 innings. Think about that one. And then they say, Shohei Ohtani, he leads the Dodgers offense, whatever. Well, it wasn't really him. No. All he was one of the guys. And look, they did very well. And I'm going to get into this right now. And the article that I'm referring to is, of course, by Yahoo Sports, right? Yahoo, it's one of those great landing pages, I guess, for internet, so long as you're not leaning a particular political direction, it's okay. But anyway, they say Jake Mintz, the senior writer, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give him a little bit of credit for that. And that's it. He just gets a very quick applause. He says Buehler turned back the clock in shutting down the Mets for 4 innings. Yeah, that's right, for 4 innings. And Ohtani homered to help put LA up 2-1 in the series. Yeah, well, so did Kike Hernandez. They seem to forget about that. But on we go. And of course, it has been 1,109 days since Walker Buehler looked this good, according to Yahoo. Right. That's why I'm saying they get the credit on this one, not me. I'm only going to chop up what they said. And in Game 3 of the NLCS, the Dodgers starter conjured 18 swing and misses from the Mets hitters in just 4 innings of work. His highest raw total, a single outing, since the final start of 2021. More importantly, neither he nor the LA bullpen surrendered a run. And the Dodgers used a trio of the home runs, including a supersonic blast from Shohei Ohtani, winning a rout 8-0. Moving on. For Buehler, it was a sparkling return to form on a chilly evening in the Big Apple. Once the impenetrable ace of a perennial contender, Buehler is a different pitcher now. Arm injuries robbed him of the better part of 3 seasons and chipped away at his once unshakable confidence. He endured a start-stop 2024, during which he spent a month away from the team to rehabilitate a bad hip at a private training facility. And Buehler steadied the ship somewhat down the stretch run, but his selection as LA Game 3 starter had much to do with the team's infirmary of pitchers as any obvious rebound from the righty. In his first postseason start last week against San Diego in the NLDS, he surrendered 6 runs in an LA loss, with the NLCS tied at 1 heading into a raucous Citi Field. The Dodgers needed their beleaguered former ace to turn back the clock. And Buehler delivered. Yes, rhetoric, folks. It is what it is. And of course, longtime Dodger catcher Austin Barnes told Yahoo Sports after the game, quote, "I don't trust anyone more than Walker. His ability to, be alive in those moments, a lot of people can't. Since I've been here, he's done a lot of big games for us, and no matter what happens early in the season or how he's been feeling, I trust that he's going to go out there and compete." Close quote. Come on, man. Everybody's going to compete. It's the playoffs. It's the league championship series. Knock it off. And of course, they continue on by saying, the competing came early in Game 3 in the bottom of the second, and the Mets loaded the bases with 1 out. Never mind all that crap. Okay, so he had 18 swing and misses. Big damn deal. He had 18 of them. What happens if you turn back the clock to maybe, 30, 40 years ago, and you look at what pitchers did back then? It was an embarrassment if you didn't go at least 7 innings. It was a failure if you had to get into your bullpen before the 7th inning. Reality. I'm a former pitcher. I know what this one looks like. I got to tell you, folks, for a pitcher to go 4 innings, he had 18 swing and misses. Who gives a damn? Look, he pitched well. Good for him. Good for LA. I have no problem with that. But what I have a problem with is the idea of a quality start. Okay, a quality start. And here's all this rhetoric. And they're saying, well, it's Ohtani, it's Ohtani. No, it's not Ohtani. It's the entire Dodger team. And if you look at the box score, first of all, the money line, it was a -110 either way. So either way, you'd have to lay $110 to win 100. It didn't matter. And the total runs was 7.5. Who cares? And so you look at all the betting action on this, run spread, total runs, none of that crap mattered. But you know what mattered? Let's look at the box score, because the box score is really what matters. Ohtani goes 1 for 4. He hits a home run. He has 3 RBIs. Mookie Betts goes 1 for 4. Freddie Freeman goes 1 for 5. Max Muncy goes 2 for 2. 2 runs scored. He gets an RBI as well off of his mammoth Titanic home run. And of course, he had 3 walks on top of it. Max Muncy is the star of this game. Moving on, Will Smith, 2 for 4. He had an RBI. Tommy Edman, seems to get on base all the time. He went 1 for 4. He also had an RBI. Kike Hernandez was 2 for 5, 2 runs scored, 2 RBIs, and a home run. So maybe we'll give it to Kike. I don't know, because it was really Max Muncy and Kike both they had a couple of hits, but more importantly, they were very productive in this game. And so you look at the other team, and let's face it, they scattered 4 hits. They didn't do anything. The Mets did nothing. End of day, they really did nothing. But you look at the pitching box score. It was Buehler going 4 innings. Michael Kopech gets the win going 1 inning because Buehler didn't qualify for a win. And Kopech had good stuff tonight. Brazier went 1. Treinen went 1. Kasperius went 2. That's it. Severino goes 4 2/3. Gives up 3 hits, 2 runs, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts. Walks and hits per innings pitched, 1.5. Walker Buehler, 1.25. How many guys are getting on base every inning? That's what that's all about, folks. And ultimately, you look at Reed Garrett and Tyler Megill. They didn't do very well for the New York Mets, but this is one game, folks. It's one game. That's it. And it seems like every other game you're going to see a big blowout from the other team or something like that. Now, over in the American League, that's a whole nother discussion. I happen to believe that there's a theory to what's going to happen in the World Series or for the World Series. We're going to get back to that in just a few minutes here on the Sports Circus. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come in segment number 2.
Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates across North America, with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at 702-799-9935. Again, 702-799-9935. Or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
Could you use a little extra money right now? If you'd like to borrow up to $100,000 and get pre-approved in minutes, call the number we'll give you at the end of this commercial. Our lending partners have already loaned millions of dollars to individuals just like you, and we're ready to lend you up to $100,000 if you qualify. Even if your credit is not perfect, you could use the money to pay off high-interest credit cards, for home renovations, or consolidate existing debt. You can get flexible, easy-to-pay terms. The consultation to find out if you qualify is free. To find out if you qualify for our special financing program, call this toll-free number 24 hours a day. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. That's 800-335-1376. Important terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Loan amount, annual percentage rate, and term will vary depending on creditworthiness. Applying does not guarantee approval. Account approval is subject to verification and confirmation of your credit history and acceptance by a lender. If you choose to apply for a loan through us, a consumer report will be obtained to evaluate your creditworthiness in connection with your application for credit.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UppercutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UppercutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UppercutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door. store without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at uppercutchops.com or call 702-799-9935. That's 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Or make your selection directly at uppercutchops.com.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Thank you, Roy, and welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. This segment brought to you in part by our friends over at the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out at csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. That's the College of Southern Nevada Athletics, csncoyotes.com. Make sure you check them out and tell them the circus sent you. Yes! Let's see if we can get all of our audio pieces together here. Listen, folks, it's live. Anything could happen. You never know. No, we don't cut it out. We don't edit anything. We just leave it in there, and hopefully everything kind of goes okay. All right, and a big welcome in to everybody listening in on all of our affiliates. Big thanks for everybody joining in at 99.1 FM over in Atlanta. Thanks for joining us over here in Auburn, Alabama as well. WAUD, that's home of the Atlanta Braves. And that stretches from Columbus, Georgia, all the way over to Montgomery, Alabama. Thanks for joining us over in Honolulu on CBS Sports 1500 KHKA. That's home of the 49ers, the Yankees, and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Plus everybody else on TV and radio and all of our affiliates. Thanks for joining us everywhere. Also on Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook, and everybody streaming on my page as well. How do you like that? All right. Back to this baseball thing, and I have a theory on what's going to happen for the World Series. And look, it's nothing great. It's nothing barn-burning. But what it is, it's sort of obvious. And let's think about this. Now, you've got an election year. And what do we want? The two biggest media markets, New York and L.A., watching a 7-game series. Right? Seems to make sense, right? For all the media advertising, all the political advertising, all the beverage companies, all the food companies, whatever the hell it is, all of that stuff, they get max dollars for a 7-game set. Oh, and it's right before what? Oh, that's right. Right before our upcoming election. How convenient is that? So my theory is that MVP, American League, Aaron Judge meets MVP of the National League, Shohei Ohtani. It's the Yankees and Dodgers, the New York versus LA, East Coast versus West Coast, blah, blah, blah. This is exactly what's going to happen. And by the way, this one, as I see it, and I'm pretty good at this prognostication stuff, it would occur to me that the Dodgers will win in 7 games. Why would it be the Dodgers? Because the poster boy of Major League Baseball right now, in my opinion, is Show Me the Money. Show me the money! Shohei Ohtani. Because he is the golden boy for baseball right now. He brings everyone together. He brings the minority. He brings everybody from Asia. He brings hope to all those around the world that want to play baseball in these United States of America, Major League Baseball. He brings that for everybody to dream and dream a little bigger. So why would it be that anybody except Shohei Ohtani and the LA Dodgers win the World Series? Now, Aaron Judge is every bit of a bona fide superstar. He's that guy. I like Aaron Judge. I like him more than Ohtani because at least Judge is not one of those guys that falls asleep on an inside pitch. I mean, you could pitch Ohtani up and in all day long, and the way he holds that bat, like this here, folks, big and little, he can't pull his hands in and rotate his knuckles at the same time and yank that ball down the right field line. He can't do it. No, if anything, if he makes any contact on an up and in pitch, it's going to go straight up in the air. That's right. Or he's going to shatter the bat. It's going to be one of those, I don't know, maybe 30 or 40-foot fly balls, if you know what I mean. It's going to probably be one of those. But reality is, he doesn't hit inside pitches very well, up and in especially, and he does not hit low and away very well either. Whereas Aaron Judge has command and control over the plate, and he's that guy. You just can't pitch around him because he can pull the hands in. He's got very, very fast bat speed, and he's really strong on top of it. Not to say Ohtani's not, but Aaron Judge is the prototypical gigantic, ginormous Godzilla of a hitter that Ohtani aspires to be, even though Ohtani had this 50-50 season, whatever. And I wonder if Major League Baseball inserted, you never know, Rob Manfred could have done this. They could have inserted special live baseballs. Oh yeah, live baseballs, kind of like what you see when it comes to home run derby, right, at the All-Star game. Well, it's my opinion that when Ohtani was teetering and he maybe had 47, 48 home runs, I believe that juiced baseballs were used just to get him over to that 50-50 thing, right? And then they went back to just the regular, we'll say, tightly wound baseballs, if you know what I mean. I don't know. But the point is, Aaron Judge doesn't really need that kind of help. Ohtani doesn't really need the help either, but just to make him get over the milestone. You know, that ball, that 50-50 ball thing, you know, there's lawsuits and all kinds of crap going on down in Florida where that ball was caught by 1, 2, 3 people, 4 people, I don't know. And the ball's being auctioned off right now for a couple, I guess the current bid somewhere around $2 million. Imagine that. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Dodgers offered him $250,000 for it. I mean, some crazy thing like that. But the guy said, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. You're going to have to... Show me the money! Yeah, man, you have to show me the money. The only way I'm going to do this. And look, here we are in the auction process right now. And especially if Ohtani wins the World Series, that ball could go up to $5 million. $5 million. Imagine that. Who knows? It's already up to 2. You never know. But I believe that it's going to be a New York and LA thing, and that's how it's probably going to play out. But LA has a hell of a lot more hitters than just Ohtani. They've got a very, very, very lethal lineup. As you go up and down that lineup, I mean, look, Betts is an MVP type of candidate. Freddie Freeman, a doubles machine, 300-plus hitter regular. Max Muncy's come around. And by the way, Will Smith, one of the better hitting catchers in baseball. Talk about clutch hitters, Kike Hernandez. He doesn't do anything all year, but when it comes to playoffs, the guy just starts hitting out of his mind. It's just what happens. These guys can play. The bullpen's a little bit thin, maybe the top 3 or 4 or 5, and Teoscar Hernandez, can't forget this guy, end up hitting 40 home runs this year anyway. And the reality is the Dodgers have lots and lots of guys that can hit the ball of the park. And you look at the other side, the Mets, you've got one of the greatest players in the game in Francisco Lindor. He always gets a round of applause here on this show. He's just a happy guy. And Nimmo, I saw Brandon Nimmo play for the Las Vegas 51s back in the day. And Nimmo, you knew he was going to be a really solid player. Pete Alonso, this could be his last year with the Mets. Starling Marte sort of reinvented himself in his mid to late 30s here. JD Martinez is still sticking around somehow. I don't know. But when you look at the Mets lineup compared to the Dodgers, it's not even close. It's not even close, man. It is night and day. The Dodgers ought to win in 5 games. They ought to, but they won't because it's not good for revenue, you see, right? But, you know, we think about revenue, and let's switch over to my beloved and horrific Chicago White Sox. They are bad. Folks, when I say they're bad, they are bad. And, you know, in fact, they're so bad, the owner, Jerry Reinsdorf, reportedly is in discussions about doing what? The unthinkable. And that would be selling the team. Yeah, how about that? After the worst season in Major League history, Reinsdorf is apparently seriously contemplating selling the White Sox. In fact, he's open to the idea, and this was reported by all media outlets, but we're going to give NBC Sports their credit here. And according to The Athletic, by the way, they have had some inside track content as well. They say it's unclear how far those discussions have gone, but reportedly with the group led by former player, coach, and executive Dave Stewart, it's actually progressed. In fact, Reinsdorf, way back in the day, purchased the team for $20 million back in 1981, which makes him the second longest active owner in the league, only behind the Steinbrenner family, who own the Yankees, of course. And according to Forbes' latest valuation, the White Sox are worth a little more than $2 billion. $2 billion. Buy for $20 million, sell for $2 billion. Not bad. They're the 15th most valuable team in the league. And this guy is 88 years old. And you know he's the majority owner of the White Sox. I know one of the minority owners is another guy that I'm not going to say his name, but he's a really good guy and a good friend. The White Sox have made the playoffs 6 times under his leadership. Most recently, just a few years ago, they won the World Series, which I went to, yes, in 2005, marking the franchise first since 1917. And the White Sox, we know they had a really bad year, setting the modern-day record for most losses, whatever. And they made some changes, so be it. And, you know, look, Reinsdorf also owns, in case you didn't know, the Chicago Bulls. And he bought the team back in 1985 for about $16 million and oversaw the franchise's dominant run. Of course, with Michael Jordan, that brought 6 titles over 8 years, and the Bulls are now valued at $4.6 billion by Forbes, which makes them the 6th most valuable team in the league. This guy's worth a little bit of lettuce, if you know what I mean. So maybe it's time to sell. And of course, previously, he's not really showed any interest in selling. It's just a cash cow for him. But you know what? Maybe it's that time. You never know. But it's unclear where a sale of the White Sox would be finalized if it happens, or if Stewart's ownership group would be a part of the deal. You never know. I mean, Stewart won a few World Series, of course, as a player, and let's face it, the guy knows how to win. But the White Sox current lease at guaranteed rate field runs through 2029 through Reinsdorf, and the team has been pushing for a new stadium on the south end of the loop, which is actually pretty cool. I'd love to see that stadium get built. Anyway, folks, we'll see if my beloved White Sox make a sale, or Reinsdorf does anyway. And you know what? Maybe it's that time. All right, back here in a few minutes on The Circus, we're going to shift over to college football when we return. Don't go anywhere. I'm your Ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime, nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it out here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Hello Americans, it's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS or state, don't worry. I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. In today's economy, the IRS has released a variety of new rules and is offering more flexible terms to help Americans looking to settle their IRS debt. If you apply today, we may be able to lift your wage garnishments and release a freeze on your bank assets or business. Our team of tax professionals can resolve your case and stop collection actions against you. Even if you've been audited or haven't filed a return in years, they can help. Call right now and find out if you qualify to settle your IRS debt for far less than what you owe. Pick up your phone right now and call us for a free $500 IRS tax review. Don't wait. Here's the number.
Call right now. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. For the last time. That's 800-950-2049.
Do a search on how to get out of credit card debt, and you'll find everything from crazy promises to ways you can try to do it yourself. Many of those ideas just don't work, and they leave you broker than you were. Here's some advice. Call our debt helpline. In a quick and free 5-minute conversation, our experts will listen to you and learn about how much credit card debt you have, what your goals are, and then show you the right solution to help you get out of credit card debt with one new simple, affordable payment. The credit card companies make available special programs to help if you're struggling. All it takes for you to finally get out of credit card debt is one quick, free phone call. So please call right now.
800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. That's 800-948-6817. Paid for by the Debt Helpline.
That's ridiculous.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Hey everyone, Dave Jackson here, ESPN rules analyst on ESPN Hockey, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Folks, make sure you check out thesportscircus.com for upcoming guests, our prior guests, our recorded shows, which are a podcast. No, we don't do a podcast. We just happen to store our full episodes on those platforms such as Apple, Amazon, Audible, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, etc., and so forth. Also, make sure you check out the store at thesportscircus.com. Hey, a shameless plug for the Sports Circus. We have great hats, t-shirts, hoodies, sweatpants, workout shorts, duffel bags, you name it, they're there. Stick 'em, notes, we have all kinds of cool stuff here. In fact, if everybody watching here on television, you could see I'm scrolling down this list of all kinds of good stuff here. This is on the store. Look, even a canvas carrying bag. And all of it has the Sports Circus logo on it. Coffee mugs, travel mugs, you name it, they're there. Check it out. Pillows as well. Picture frames, you name it, they're there. Check it out at thesportscircus.com under store. And make sure you say that Ringmaster Sal sent you, and he'll give you an extra 10% off. Yes! Just because, I don't know, I've never done that before, but let's just say it anyway. All right, welcome back to everybody on TV and radio. You know who you are. All right, going to jump into college football. Oh, by the way, thanks for joining us also on Chicago Food Favorites as well on Facebook. Thanks for joining us there and all other streaming platforms. Okay, college football. How about this? You know, the Pac-12 went from the Pac-12, actually from the Pac-8 to the Pac-10 to the Pac-12 to the Pac-2 to the Pac-7.5. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And now they're the Pac-8.5 because Hawaii is to become a full-time Mountain West member in 2026. How do you like them apples? In fact, Hawaii has been a football-only member of the conference while other sports played in the Big West Conference. However, that is no more. So, according to all major outlets, CBS Sports on this one, the conference announced that Hawaii would join in all sports from the Big West. In fact, the Warriors currently play football in the Mountain West, but are Big West members in every other sport. And the move comes as the Mountain West is reshuffling following that Pac-12 purge, as I mentioned. You got to remember, Cal and Stanford went to the ACC. Imagine that East Coast, West Coast commute. USC, UCLA, Washington, and Oregon. Where'd they go? They went to the Big Ten. Arizona, Arizona State, Utah, and Colorado went to the Big 12, which is now the Big 16 or something. I don't know. In fact, I think the Big 10 is now 18 members. I don't know. The whole thing is chaotic. But nonetheless, now it's Hawaii joining, well, which really a conference they belong in, to be honest with you. They're joining the Mountain West as a full-time. So now they had 7.5. And when I say 7.5, the Pac-12, remember, it's Oregon State, Washington State. It's actually kind of like the state conference. Oregon State, Washington State, Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State, from the Mountain West, of course, those other ones. Now they added Gonzaga for basketball, which is only a half, so that doesn't really count. But now they added Hawaii as a full-time member. So what was strange is Gonzaga was the half for basketball, but Hawaii was the half for football. But they can't count those two as one. Nope, because you have to have all your sports. That's why Hawaii makes it now the Pac 8.5, if you're trying to keep up with this one. I mean, the whole thing is kind of ridiculous. Nonetheless, Hawaii Athletic Director Craig Angelos said in a statement, quote, "This is a momentous day for the University of Hawaii Athletics. We've had the privilege of being football-only member in the Mountain West for the last dozen years. Now the majority of our sports will enjoy the same experience of competing in this exceptional conference. Joining the Mountain West allows us to renew historic rivalries, create opportunities for increased exposure, and provide stability in the constantly evolving world of collegiate athletics," close quote. There's more to it, folks. There's more to it. There's a money component to this. Nonetheless, Hawaii will be the 8th full-time member of the Mountain West, as I mentioned, after UTEP announced that it was joining the conference in 2026 as well. Yeah, University of Texas, El Paso. So the conference extends a little bit to the east, but at least it's the western edge of Texas. Anyway, so in addition to football and men's, women's basketball, Hawaii will be a Mountain West Conference member in 12 other sports. Now, according to multiple outlets, the Warriors' move also means the school, the University of Hawaii, will no longer have to provide travel subsidies to other Mountain West Conference teams. And the current football-only agreement has Hawaii subsidizing travel costs for Mountain West teams who play away games in Honolulu. And of course, though Hawaii gives the Mountain West an all-important 8th full-time member, the conference could continue to add teams. Adding at least one more team would allow every school in the conference to play at least 8 conference games against different opponents. As it stands, teams would only be able to play 7 conference games in 2026 without playing an opponent at a second time. So you see, they're going to probably add another. I guess my best guess is, since Hawaii is joining the Mountain West, I wouldn't be surprised to see another Mountain West team migrate away from the Mountain West into the Pac 8.5 at this point. And what that probably means, as I see it, it could be the Air Force Academy, which would make the only academic sense, because frankly, the balance of the schools that are in there, not very smart. Just saying, as a college recruiter for the last 24 years, I have to tell you folks, I'm very concerned about what's going on academically in the Pac-12 conference, because let's face it, they lost their research institutes. Now, they pick one up in Hawaii, which is good, which is a mediocre academic. Sorry, folks, it is what it is, in my opinion. It's very meh. But if they could pick up the Air Force Academy, that would catapult the academics back at least from 1.5 of the universities with some kind of standing. That's really what they're after. I mean, in reality, the Pac-12, or the Pac, whatever the hell it is now, should add Air Force, Army, and Navy. Now, if they can't do that, it would be more realistic to add Rice, which is an academic superpower, along with Tulane, so they have a couple of teams local to one another there. Now, that would make a little sense. And honestly, it would probably help the conference out with some credibility. Because the reality is, some people have been saying, well, Sanford and Cal are going to come back to the Big 12. Loyal listener Larry said that. I don't think so, buddy. I don't think so. Listen, Stanford and Cal left for a very good reason. In fact, Stanford and Cal went to probably the best destination academically for them. And outside of the Ivy League, the ACC academically is an academic superpower. Now think about who's in that university system over there. So you add Stanford and Cal to Duke, that's right, the University of Virginia, among others, Wake Forest, and on we go. some very, very strong academic institutions over there. And research, let's face it, it is what it is over there. And now the Big Ten has their really good universities too. And there's scores of them. There's a few that aren't very good, which of course Ohio State is one of them. However, Ohio State is second in the nation in agriculture, right? So we'll give them a very quick round of applause. So outside of that, Nebraska academically, not so good. Rutgers, good addition. Maryland, solid addition. Penn State, not so good. Michigan State, not so good. Purdue, very good. Illinois, very good. You see where we're going with this, folks? Michigan, very good. Northwestern, really good. Wisconsin, solid. Iowa, solid. So when you add lesser institutions, for example, in the Pac 8.5 now, and you look back at the list of these academic institutions, they're not very good. Oregon State and Washington State are the two remaining teams from the Pac-12. Very mediocre, but adequate. But then you add Boise State, not very good. Colorado State, number 3 in agriculture. Outside of that, not very good. Fresno State, not very good. San Diego State, not very good. UTEP, not very good. Gonzaga, good. But remember, they're not a full-time football program type of a system, right? So they count, but they don't count. So there will be revenue sharing. When it comes to basketball, they're going to lead the way, of course. But generally speaking, when they do these realignments, you have to consider what these institutions, they're not teams, what the institutions actually bring to the table. And that's really what we should be focusing on here, folks. These are universities. Some are private, and they're private businesses, so to say. But others, state tax money goes to. All these state schools for the Pac 7.5, 8.5, whatever the hell, they're all state universities. And don't you think for a second they're going to be wondering where that money is spent for each university? That's something to really think about here, folks. All right, back here in a few minutes, we're going to talk a little bit of Heisman, a little bit of odds for the upcoming week right here on the Sports Circus. Don't go anywhere. Segment 4 is just a few minutes away.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. That's 800-932-5517.
If you served in the Marine Corps, by now you know about the contaminated water problem at Camp Lejeune. If you were stationed or worked at Camp Lejeune from 1953 to 1987, you probably have a lot of questions. We have some answers. You could be entitled to compensation. Billions of dollars are being allocated to pay for damages to anyone stationed at Camp Lejeune during that time. Unfortunately, it appears that officials may have known the contaminated water problem existed and did little to protect their men. The Semper Fi code was not honored. If you or someone in your family has developed a serious illness, including various forms of cancer, call this Camp Lejeune legal support line right now. You can't turn back the clock and change what happened, but you can certainly call right now and learn your rights as a Marine. Here's the number.
Call 800-335-7196. 800-335-7196. That's 800-335-7196.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UpperCutChops.com or call 702-799-9935. That's 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Or make your selection directly at UpperCutChops.com.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Urlacher. Welcome back to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP television. Folks, make sure you check out thesportscircus.com for upcoming guests, our prior guests, recorded shows, again, which are podcasts, even though we don't do a podcast. Also, make sure you check out the partners page. Lots of great partners there. They've been with us for many years. In fact, this one is for our friends over at Al's Number One Italian Beef at 1079 West Taylor Street. That's Al's Number One Italian Beef, 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. Folks, check them out. If you don't know, you better go find out. Check them out at alsbeef.com, and you can read all about their story. They are the originators of the Italian beef sandwich. They go back 80-odd years, and yes, that's where it was put together, and their sandwiches are still the very best in the business. If you're not in Chicagoland, or frankly, if you don't know what it is, it's basically a roast beef sandwich that kicks the crap out of all those Philly cheesesteak nonsensical sandwiches, if you know what I mean. But this is a very slow roasted, takes 22 hours to make this. Boy, is it good. And the beef, it's so thin you can almost see through. It's translucent. Oh, is it good. Mercy. And you can put some hot peppers or sweet peppers or just the oil on it. That's what I do. It is remarkable. Got to tell you, folks, check them out at alsbeef.com. That's alsbeef.com, and tell them the circus sent you. In fact, if you see Bones in there, tell Bones that I sent you in there as well, if you know what I mean. All right. College football. How about this? How about the Heisman Watch, right? And, I got to tell you, there are some pretty exciting players in college football today. In fact, there are 4 clear-cut favorites at the midway point in the season. In fact, this first guy, boy, he is something special. If you're a baseball card collector, football card, whatever, you're like sports cards, get one of this guy. I promise you this guy is going to be something special at the next level. His name is Ashton Jeanty. He's an all-world running back, and he is the mid-season front runner at BetMGM at plus 200. Put up at $100, win $200. And he's followed by Oregon's quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, another very good one. Luckily, I've got a few of those rookie cards. And this guy is a plus 350. Put up 100 to win 350. Not bad. Miami quarterback Cam Ward and Colorado defensive back wide receiver Travis Hunter are both at 650. The number 5 favorite is Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe, and he's all the way back at plus 1,300. Put up 100 to win 1,300. Got to tell you, I don't think it's going to get that far. I think Jeanty is the guy right now. If they did the voting right now, this guy is running away with it. He's carrying the ball on average 13 yards thereabouts per touch. It's insanity. And he's been unstoppable so far this season. So far, get this, at the halfway point, 1,248 rushing yards, 311 more than anybody else in college football. That's crazy. And he leads the country with 17 rushing touchdowns. Oh, he's averaging, 10 yards a carry. 10 yards a carry, not 13, whatever. 10 yards a carry. Every time he touches the ball, 10 yards. Gabriel led Oregon to a big win, of course, over Ohio State. Of course, that deserves an astounding round of applause. Yes! Gotta like that. And he threw for 341, 2 interceptions, but also rushed for a 27-yard touchdown. Of course, with Florida's Graham Mertz out for the season, Gabriel is the active completion percentage leader at 76.1. That's pretty damn good. Now, Cam Ward leads all quarterbacks who have played 6 games with 22-19 passing yards and is tied atop the passing touchdown list with 20. Former Washington State quarterback has been integral in Miami's turnaround from a disappointing last season. And Hunter is Colorado's leading receiver and top corner, so he plays both sides of the ball. That's pretty impressive. And he plays nearly every offensive and defensive snap and appeared to avoid a serious injury against Kansas State. He suffered an apparent right shoulder injury against the Wildcats and missed the second half. But Coach Deion Sanders, he said that Hunter would play on Saturday against Arizona. Now, Jalen Milroe heads into Alabama's game, leading the country in yards per pass at 11.2, and is tied with Ward and Texas State's Jordan McLeod with 23 combined touchdowns. Milroe is also Alabama's most important rusher. I mean, look, it's far from a guarantee, however, that the Heisman race is down to these 5 players, and G.T. is the guy. I don't care what anyone says. Right now, you're going to have to knock this guy off the top of the pedestal because he is there. With conference races set to unfold over the next several weeks, look, there's a mountain of opportunity for each and every one of these guys. You never know what's going to happen. And look, honestly, last year, Jaden Daniels won it. Bo Nix had the best numbers out of all the quarterbacks. And Jaden Daniels is playing very, very well for Washington. I'm sold on this kid. Bo Nix, though, is a bona fide pro at the quarterback position. Stays in the halo. He does exactly what he's supposed to do. Right in the tackle box. He doesn't do anything stupid for the most part. Bo Nix is going to be a really, really good quarterback in the National Football League as his career moves forward. No question. So look, 2 years ago, C.J. Stroud was the overwhelming favorite at the midway point, and his odds were even better than G.T.'s, and Stroud was at a minus 110 to win the award, but eventually it was Caleb Williams at a plus 700 that won it. So look, it's easy to envision a few of these players outside the top 5 making a push, even Georgia's Carson Beck and Quinn Ewers from Texas. They could make a run at it too. You never know. But let's face it, if G.T. keeps doing what he's doing, this kid's going to run away with it. I mean, literally, run away with it. Right. But anyway, there's a whole bunch of other guys, and you could talk about this guy and that guy and LSU's guy and Clemson's guy and all this other crap. But at the end of the day, it's really, I would say, a 2-horse race. And I do like the fact that Colorado's guy actually plays both sides of the ball. That's very important. But G.T. and Dylan Gabriel, that's basically it. Because, listen, Gabriel right now, he's atop the Big Ten. That's Oregon atop the Big Ten. Imagine that. And this guy is good. He's really, really good. He's poised. But G.T. is a special player. He's a generational player. And that's all I have to say about that. So we'll see what happens in the Heisman races. But now moving on to college football and the betting lines. And look, what we look at, folks, in case you're just joining us for the first time, we look at the casinos right here in Las Vegas, from BetMGM to Caesars Palace to Bally's, and a few others, which to be nameless. And, of course, there are those online ones that we never acknowledge because they don't pay us anything, if you know what I mean. Hey, show me the money! All right, and then I'll start talking about you. And we're going to start right here at the top with Georgia State and Marshall. The Thundering Herd open up at -7, and they're up to -9. And -9 pretty much is the consensus on it. And got to tell you, we're going to take Marshall minus the points. Moving on, the next matchup is Boston College and Va-Tech. This one screams Va-Tech all day and every day. Everyone's got them at a touchdown. It should be a little bit more than that. Moving on, Florida State visits Durham, North Carolina at Duke University. And Duke is 3 across the board. We're going to lay the 3. We're going to take Duke. Duke's going to keep marching on through the ACC. Florida State, pretty good, but not that good. Oregon is going to beat up, and I mean destroy, my undergraduate university. They are going to stomp Purdue, something terrible. That line is 27.5. It should be 127.5. Unfortunately, Purdue has seen better days. Get rid of that coach. I've been saying it since they hired him. Ryan Walters is not the guy. No, not the guy. Get rid of that guy. He's absolutely terrible. Seriously, folks, get rid of Ryan Walters. I've been saying it, and it's just going to be one ugly loss after another. So Oregon big. Oak State visits a very tough defensive squad in Provo. Brigham Young. Watch out. Brigham Young is a very solid defensive team. Oak State can score, but they're not going to score very many up in Provo. Sorry. Fresno State is a road favorite at Nevada. They're laying 2.5. It's going to be, and that's according to Caesars Palace, it's going to be Fresno State. They'll probably win by double digits in that game. Wake Forest travels to UConn. Somehow UConn's actually favored in a game, which kind of strikes me funny. They're actually -2 against Wake. We're taking Wake all day and every day. East Carolina, the Pirates, travel to Army. Army's laying a bunch of points, 15.5. That's too many points. Go with the Pirates and take the 15.5. Miami travels to Louisville. And Miami is a road favorite. But we're going to go ahead and lay the points. We're going to take Miami in that one, and they're going to continue on their march. Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns travel to Coastal Carolina. And it's the Raging Cajuns that are a 4.5-point favorite at some, 5.5 point at others. We're going to take the home team, Coastal Carolina. We're going to stick with those guys because they're a very good home squad. Virginia travels to Clemson. This one's Clemson all day, every day. Arizona State travels to Cincinnati, and it's going to be Arizona State with a nice road win at the Bearcats. Imagine that. They're getting 5.5. UCLA, a very bad UCLA team, travels cross-country over to Rutgers. And, in fact, a couple of these places don't even have the game on the board. And the line opened up at 7.5. It's down to 4.5. Rutgers should win the game. But maybe the fix is in for UCLA. We'll see what happens. Sticking in the Big Ten, Wisconsin travels to Evanston to play Northwestern. That one, Wisconsin. War Eagle travels to Missouri, over to Columbia. Boy, that's going to be a tough game. Columbia, Missouri is no easy place to play. But the line is down to 4.5. And you know what? At 4.5, I got to tell you, I think Missouri is going to win that game, and they're going to win by at least a touchdown. Indiana, how about undefeated Indiana? They open up at 3.5. They're up to 6.5 against Nebraska. And we're inclined to take Indiana minus the points. I mean, these guys are good. South Carolina, a very tight game last week, traveled to Oklahoma. We're going to take South Carolina with the points there. Tulsa, the Golden Hurricanes, travel to Temple. And it is Temple all day, every day. Central Michigan and Eastern Michigan. We're going with Eastern. The Ohio Bobcats, an interstate game with Miami. And it's Ohio U plus 3.5. We're going to take them. Take the Bobcats. Western Michigan at Buffalo. Take the Buffalo Bulls all day. Texas State and Old Domino. It's going to be Texas State on the road with a nice win there. Charlotte and Navy. This one screams Navy. Navy by 30. Bama and Tennessee. Boy, that's going to be a fun game. And this one, Tennessee is a 3-point home dog. Tennessee's going to win this game, folks. They're going to win this game straight up, and it might be by 3 or 6 points, but this one's Tennessee's. Notre Dame travels to Atlanta to play Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech with 12.5, we'll take that one. Kent State, Bowling Green in the Mid-American, and this one screams Bowling Green. The Toledo Rockets are getting 3, traveling to DeKalb, Illinois to play Northern. We're going to take Northern and UAB and South Florida. This one's South Florida all day. Now we're rushing on time here. Michigan travels to Illinois. We're going to stick with Michigan in that one. NC State and Cal. Cal, home team. Houston visits Kansas. This one's Houston. Rice and Tulane. This one's Tulane all day. Bet the farm on that one. Florida Atlantic and UTSA. This one's UTSA Roadrunners. Hawaii travels to Washington State. They're going to get cooged. It's Washington State big. James Madison, the Dukes at Georgia Southern. Watch out for James Madison. They're a very good squad. Baylor and Texas Tech. We're going to stick with Texas Tech. SC travels across country over to Maryland. We're going to take Maryland plus all those points. New Mexico and Utah State. Stick with New Mexico. Wyoming hits the road to San Jose. This one's San Jose. Colorado and Arizona. This one's Arizona. Texas A&M goes to Mississippi State. They're going to wreck Mississippi State. Ball State and Vandy. This one's Vandy. LSU and Arkansas. Take Arkansas at home. Arkansas State, Southern Miss, Arkansas State as well, UCF and Iowa. We're going to go with Iowa State, that is. Kansas State, minus 3.5. West Virginia, take that. North Texas, Georgia, Iowa, Kentucky, and Colorado State. We're done. So long, everyone.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. That's 800-932-5517.